the Allak 2 by Hilleberg. And the question is, what is somebody like me doing with a tent like this? So my outdoor adventures are, I've been paragliding for 15 years. I enjoy kayaking along the coast here in Wales, got some beautiful coastline to go exploring, and I've been hiking in the mountains and in the hills for as long as I can remember. So it only makes sense to have a tent to maximise the windows of opportunities for those endeavours. But do I need a Hilleberg tent for that? Based on the weather that I go out in, I don't need a Hilleberg tent. So why have I got one? So my story with Hilleberg starts by being out in the hills and mountains and seeing these tents pitched in all sorts of weird and wonderful places, and they always stood out to me in terms of their design and their overall quality, and they just look a great piece of kit. So the first thing you do is you go on, you Google Hilleberg tents, you look at the price of them and you think how much, and you sort of park it. But then curiosity gets the better of you and you start looking into the brand, and then you start to understand why they are what they are. So on the Hilleberg website there's all sorts of information on the products and the story, the family story of Hilleberg, and then that led me to then discover adventurers that I'd never even heard of, and I went off to follow their stories and on climbing on mountains around the world and going to, you know, places that man just shouldn't be with a Hilleberg tent. So that hooked me onto the brand. Once the decision's been made that I was going to buy a Hilleberg tent, it was then a case of what model do I go for, and it was a case then of matching the tent to my requirements. But that all started with the Hilleberg catalogue, and this has got to be the best product catalogue I think I've ever seen. You know, and there's lots of stuff out there for the sports I endeavour in, but this is probably the best. You know, you've got the material guide here, as you can see. I've really been having a go with that, the price list, and I considered every two-man tent they do, and there's all sorts of information in here. I just considered every two-man. So there are numerous reasons why I chose this tent, but one of the first ones, and I've mentioned this before in a previous video, but is the two vestibules. You've got one on that side and then you've got the other one on this side. Now I like that because I can separate my bag and my boots when I get to camp and leave them out the way on this side, and then it gives me the vestibule on the other side for my cooking and sort of living space. And I do tend to like to keep my space really tidy, so that was great, and the really large vestibules as well. So that was one of the main reasons. Second reason, if you have a look, the venting options in here in terms of controlling condensation are absolutely fantastic. So when you take a closer look, you've got the outer sort of rain cover here, which is covering the main exterior of the fly sheet, and then you can see there, that's one of the vents that I keep permanently open. And then depending on what's going on at night time, it depends how much I'll leave this. I'll have this here fully open all the way down, or partly open, depending on what the weather's doing. On this side here I've got the mosquito net open, so you can see, for great ventilation. Some things to watch out for. This is a two-man tent, but the width of the tent is 120 centimetres. Now my previous two-man tents have been 140 centimetres, so initially I did notice that 20 centimetre reduction. So it would be quite tight as a two-man tent, but for me and the dog, it's perfect. Also, in terms of the length of the tent, I'm 6'4", and if you look at the measurements in the catalogue, without my sleeping mat in, I would fit head to toe in this tent, no problem at all. But once I put the sleeping mat in and my sleeping bag, because the tent slopes upwards here, my feet are pushing against that. When I'm pushing against it, you can see that my feet then touch the exterior of the tent, and my sleeping bag does get damp. But that's nothing to do with Hilleberg. That is just I'm 6'4" and I have that problem in any tent. Talking about back to the vestibules, I absolutely love how much you can open the vestibule up. You can open it all the way up. So you got, if you look on this side, you can see up there's two doors there, both closed. I've got them both open here, and it opens up the full tent. And I tend to position this tent where I can at looking at the best view, so you've got that great view morning, noon and night. So yeah, I really like that. When I bought this tent, the deal I've got, it came with the footprint as part of the deal, and I wasn't originally going to get the footprint because it takes the weight of the tent over 4 kilograms. But actually now I'm really glad I got that, because it does capture some of the dust and dirt off your feet, and particularly having a dog, rather than taking it actually into the main living space of the tent. So inside the Allak 2 here, I've just closed both the doors, although the mosquito nets are open. And despite what I was saying about the width being narrower at 120 centimetres, you can see that it is a nice space inside. So there's plenty of room, you know, for one man and his dog. It's great. And then there you can see sort of the vents closer up there above. So I've got the main vents fully open, and then just a zip slightly open as an example setup. So yeah, I do like it inside. So my final comments are, do I need a Hilleberg tent? No, I do not. I don't, for what I do not need a tent like this. But I take a great deal of pleasure in owning a tent like this. The design of it, the quality of it, the comfort of it. And this particular model, the more and more I use it, the more and more I appreciate it. It was a significant investment, but I'm so pleased with it. And now in my mind it was money well spent, although I was sweating at the time of purchase. But a fantastic tent from a fantastic brand.